All right, so we're going to be talking about one of the greatest movies ever created.
Godzilla Final Wars.
So the movie begins with they're in the Antarctica, right, fighting Godzilla in the Gotengo.
So then he gets sent into the ground and frozen for the next however many years.
So they have the big fight scene. They put Godzilla on the Earth and they freeze him over. He basically turns into Walt Disney and is put in cryostasis. And then after this is this where they cut to them being in the Earth's core fighting Manda?
Yeah.
Now we're seeing them fight Manda, which first of all, this Manda design, it's great.
Yeah,
I love this design.
It's probably the best Manda design.
I like it because the original Manda, that was one of the things I didn't like. The original Manda in Destroy All Monsters, it didn't have the headpiece like the original Manda had. It had the spikes, but they added that back. And he's a gold too, which is really, I think the gold looks better than the bluish green that he was in the show era. Like he was gold, right? I'm not remembering that wrong. He was gold.
No, I thought he was still mostly greenish.
Because he swims into the Earth's core. Don't ask how. And Manda gets too close and catches fire underwater. Yes.
Yep.
We're using SpongeBob logic. They can't figure out how to beat Manda. So what do? They use their freezer weapon and they freeze him. And then they just drill right through.
And just explodes.
They just shatter Manda into a million pieces.
And then doesn't it cut to the training montage or something?
Yeah, this is where they start ripping off the Matrix, and
because they have all this over the top combat moves and all.
The weird, and they have the shots where they'll freeze midair and the camera will spin around, pan around and full scene. It's actually a pretty cool fight scene,
even though it's straight up ripped off.
It's ripped off the Matrix, but this movie would not be as fun if it wasn't a blatant rip off. The fact they just clearly did it makes this movie 1,000 times better. If it was a slight nod, then it wouldn't be as good. But the fact that there's no shame, just copied the Matrix, is just great. So then they do the fighting montage, and then we get introduced to the main character and his best friend. The best friend is not important.
And then, isn't that now when the monsters start showing up?
Yeah, it's Anguirus. Then Zilla appears.
We also see Rodan. And so there's this moment when Rodan first appears. He flies over the city. So Rodan flies over, and they use a stock sound effect. His hat, it just goes flying, and they use the most generic stock sound effect ever.
And obviously, because I do love the Rodan design. I love all the designs in this movie. I think they're really good.
True.
The one issue I do have, the Rodan in the first scene, I don't know if you noticed this, when he's standing on the building and roars, the part of his jaw doesn't seem to be painted. They didn't really cover up the mechanical parts, so it looks like it's metal. I always know that always bugged me when I see it.
I don't think I ever noticed that.
You can see the joint moving. It's so funny. So then it cuts to Ebra. So we cut to Ebra, and then we have these mutants. They're called mutants, I'm pretty sure, right?
I don't remember if they were specifically called mutants.
I get that Ebra's never been the strongest monster, and I know that these are mutants, but the fact that he was beaten by foot soldiers with rocket launchers really doesn't help Ebra, because Ebra already looked kind of weak in his first movie.
So many explosions and all that.
If this was an American movie, I would bet money that was made by Michael Bay. So they kill Ebra, or they don't kill him.
No, he disappears, and so did the other monsters.
Isn't there a scene way early in the movie where we see all these important political people get destroyed by Rodan in a plane? That's the first scene we get of a monster, and you hear Rodan scream, and then they're in a plane that floats. I know that scene happens before I think it's before the monsters.
So then the Exilians come down and they say they took care of all the monsters and that they were here to help humanity save them.
I love how the humans are you mean these monsters that we couldn't beat, you just magically warp away? Yeah, you're trustworthy.
True.
They just blindly trust them except for a few.
So then the main character, he figures out the aliens are doing some bad stuff. They're doing some trolling. And so during a meeting, they bring a bunch of people, and the Exilian second in command, the one kills the leader, and then he becomes the leader. They
realize that the Zillions don't blink, which is why they always wear sunglasses. But because the Zillions have the power to take control of people, or not take control, but take the form of people, they looked at footage of an actual person that had been taken over by the Zillions, and realize that the guy doesn't blink, right? So
Yeah.
they realize he's bad. They get Gordon, best character in the movie.
It's Douglas
Douglas
Gordon.
Doug. They get Douglas Gordon, phenomenal character. Gordon,
He's just so enjoyable.
he might actually unironically be the best character in any Godzilla movie. He's just so enjoyable in every scene. When we will discuss some of those scenes. So
the second in command kills the leader, and then there's a bunch of mutants in the room, and then we get exposition about their G cells and all that, and then the Xillion now leader takes control of them, except one.
Yeah. And then the general guy from the training session, like, the sacrifice themselves. They kill the Zillion that had control over that, like, the political guy, like the one guy with all the political power. They kill him, and then they storm in there, and then Gordon's got the body on his shoulder. He just yeets it in front of all these reporters, probably traumatizing them for life. And then, so yeah, cuts, we get all the expedition. So there's a big chunk of this movie that's just talking, which is just the Exilians trying to act like they're cool. And that's probably the biggest complaint I have with the movie, is that it is about 30 to 20 minutes too long. It's just that one middle section where it's just the Zillions mostly talking. That's just the one part. Like, you cut that out, make it an hour and a half, it's flawless. It's basically flawless for what it is. So they figure out the Zillions are bad.
Zillions are controlling the mutants. There was a motorcycle fight scene where someone jumps with the motorcycle, kicks it into someone's face.
Literally gets backhanded by a motorbike. Is this where the Zillions just decide to unleash all their monsters at once?
Yes.
They awaken Gigan.
Rise!
And then so Gigan flies to the North Pole, and he fights, or South Pole, whatever, and he fights the Gotengo, which is the name of the ship that the main characters use throughout the whole movie. They get Godzilla awake, and then Godzilla has one of the funniest scenes. The two guys that are monitoring him basically go, "Oh no!" And then Godzilla just explodes the base, and then he fights Gigan, and then he one-shots Gigan, because this Godzilla just is juiced in power. One-shots Gigan. And a lot of people complain about how strong Godzilla is. I think it just adds to the humor of the movie. Because he is so obscenely powerful and just blows through all of the other kaiju. So then Godzilla walks around, he beats some other kaiju. I don't remember the exact order he kills them in, or not kill. Well, yeah, he doesn't even kill all of them. He only kills some of them. He goes to this random place in the middle of, like, a jungle and fights Komanga. That's the spider's name, right?
Yeah, and then he swings him around and around and around and throws him like 20 miles away into the mountains.
It's such a, and then he goes to this, like, section of the village where Kamakura, is that how you pronounce Kamakura? Is that how you pronounce it? The giant praying mantis. And I really like the design. I think they actually made him look intimidating, like scary in this movie. But then you have the scene of, do I destroy the monster or do I destroy the village? Both. Yeah. It's just atomic breath, the village, and hits Kamakura. And I do like how they gave Kamakura the ability to turn invisible. I think it actually, like, makes him reasonably threatening as a monster, because before he's just a giant mantis. They can't even kill Manila. So, like, then this is where he does the three-way with King Caesar,
Rodan, and Anguirus.
Yes, yep. And then Anguirus Rodan and Anguirus actually get a hit on Godzilla, which is the first time for the final battle where any monster actually touches Godzilla. So he stacks them off on top of each other. He doesn't kill them, which I do like that little nod, because these three monsters are three of his most consistent allies across the entire series. It would kind of be ill-sighted to have him just destroy them like that, you know? I do like that little touch.
Don't forget about King Caesar and Godzilla playing soccer with Anguirus.
Yeah,
that's when this happens.
Dude, King Caesar literally just kicks Anguirus. Godzilla literally does the goalie dive and hits Anguirus away. And then Rodan hits him in the if I remember correctly, Anguirus then hits Godzilla in the chest, knocks him back, and then Rodan flies and hits him in the head with his, like, spikes on his chest. So after that, is this where Zilla and just gets annihilated? I want to remind you guys that Toho hates the 1998 Godzilla movie. They hate that movie so much.
Zilla jumps at Godzilla. He gets tail swiped into the Sydney Opera House, and then Godzilla Godzilla destroys both in one atomic blast.
So after he kills them, the humans have been doing stuff. They've been trying to fight the
Exilians.
I want to remind you guys, right now, we haven't had to discuss much, but we're still like the last 30 minutes of the movie. Like, this movie is so fast. They try to just take over they drill into the ship. They destroy the entire Exilian fleet, which will make the next scene really funny. So the Zillion leader, he's sitting there saying, like, you think you could stop us with how powerful we are? But it's like, didn't your entire fleet just get destroyed by one ship? Isn't all your monsters dead? Like,
Yeah.
can't really be talking.
Yeah.
So they have their fight. There's been this asteroid that I have forgotten to mention because it's not relevant until now. That's been coming towards Earth at a rapid pace.
Now is when Godzilla kills Hedorah and Ebra.
He appears there. He kills Ebra and Hedorah, and the little gleam in the eye. And then the energy blast just gets a 2-for-1. So Godzilla's there now, and they release Gigan,
The upgraded version.
Upgraded Gigan, which so Gigan has size for hands. So how do you improve size? You give him double chainsaw.
Yeah. It's the most 90s thing ever.
This movie came out in 2004, so early 2000s. It's not good enough to give him chainsaw hands. They gotta be the double chainsaw.
Yeah.
And this Gigan puts up a decent fight. The asteroid comes down, Godzilla destroys it, and then out comes Monster. Is it Monster X?
Yeah.
Because Monster Zero is what Ghidorah is referred to. So they fight Monster X and Gigan, modified Gigan. They tag team Godzilla. He's losing pretty badly to them. I will note that, if I can remember correctly, he does not actually ever get to land a blast of atomic breath on them, which I think also does confirm that if he hits you with that, you just die.
Yeah.
That's just the rules of this movie.
And then, isn't this when Mothra shows up?
Yeah, Mothra just appears. So she appeared earlier in the movie. The twins did, to warn the humans about Gigan. That's how they kind of knew that the Exilians were evil. They were told by the Mothra twins about that. So Mothra appears. She knocks them over. And then this is where she's killed by Gigan, kind of. She gets her wings cut off because Gigan launches two blades out of his chest.
Yeah.
They cut her wings, and then he shoots his laser at her, and she explodes. But then he strikes a hero pose. But remember, he shot the saws out, and then he just turned around. They come back and cut his head off. And then Mothra suicides into him and destroys the body. And then the next scene is just, oh my gosh. So, if you look at Monster X, you notice that he kind of has like these two little mini heads on his side, like that are like half heads, you know? And his beams of energy are yellow, and he has like two tails.
Whoa.
I wonder what other monster. And then he just gets on all fours and starts transforming. And you see his head rise up, the wings. It's King Ghidorah, or sorry, Kaiser Ghidorah in this movie. Yeah. But it's such a good reveal because I do like that it is hinted at. It's not just like random. Like the design is clearly shown to look like Ghidorah.
Yeah. And
then
King Ghidorah hasn't shown up at any other point in the movie. And
he's not mentioned at all. The only hint that this is even could be Ghidorah is the little design critiques you might notice, and the fact that he's called Monster X.
Yeah.
Which X is like because he was Monster Zero back when like the '60s when he first came out. Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. So before it took 2 or 3 monsters to actually have a chance at Godzilla. Kaiser Ghidorah just says no and just mops the floor with Godzilla. Kaiser Ghidorah is so obscenely powerful. It's honestly comical how powerful he is as a villain.
So we get all this cool action, and then this whole time while that's happening, inside the Exilian ship, they're having all these exposition monologues and all that. And apparently the main character we've been following the whole time also has the Kaiser power or whatever.
Is this the scene where the main Zillion just shoots a bunch of like darts at him, and darts, and the guy just blocks him with his hand, like the scene in the Matrix?
It's the other Matrix knockoff scene, yeah.
And so that's happening, and then you get a really funny scene with the Zillion leader where he goes to punch. His name is Ryuzaki. I think it's Ryuzaki is his name. That actually sounds correct. I'm gonna call him Ryuzaki from now on. Okay. So Ryuzaki, he goes to hit Ryuzaki. Ryuzaki just punches him back in the face, and the guy goes, "Never been hit by that. Let me just." And then he goes to swing again, and gets hit in the face again. Yeah. he's like, hold on, let me check something. And then just goes and he gets knocked out, basically.
Yeah.
Is this where we get the reveal that the Zillions wanted to use the humans? It's like cattle, for, like food.
Yeah, something like that.
After they destroyed like 90% of the human race. Great plan, guys.
Yeah. So the ship starts like exploding or something. The main character is still fighting the main bad guy.
Oh, and we forgot to mention that earlier in the movie when they're trying to take over the ship with the Gotengo, the best friend character that we mentioned, if we got backhanded by a motorbike, sacrificed himself to take down the shield. It's not very relevant. I just thought I'd throw that in there.
So
that happens, and then
all the main characters are trying to escape.
And then
we also see that the characters who were replaced earlier by Exilians are actually still alive because they start fighting. The main characters go out, so Douglas Gordon stays behind to fight off the top Exilian warriors. And then we get the best moment in the movie. So there's a woman Exilian warrior, and Douglas almost has her defeated. And then she goes, "So you'd hit a woman?" So Douglas looks over at his hand, and then opens up his fist, and he says, "Yeah." And then kills her.
And knocks her cold.
It's absolutely hilarious.
This character is so great.
Yes, then the characters get on the Gotengo and they escape. And then the Kaiser guy, the guy who has the Kaiser power, he injects his power, however, through the ship, and it fires a beam into Godzilla, powering him up.
Mm-hmm. And Godzilla, he uses his pulse, and he tricks Kaiser into decapitating one of his own heads, and then he shoots the energy blast, which takes off Kaiser's middle head. Which it's been established in canon, I believe, that Kaiser's middle head is like the superior head. Unlike Ghidorah, where all three heads are equal, Kaiser's middle head is actually like the ruler. So the other two heads kind of really didn't know what to do when their main head was destroyed. And that's why in the Monster X form, you see the middle head is the only complete form, because it's the lead head. So Kaiser gets thrown into space, kind of like Kamanga did, but not as silly, because Kamanga, the PNG of Kamanga flying. It's just a PNG flying across the screen, basically.
And then to end off Kaiser Ghidorah, Godzilla does a 360 no-scope atomic blast and just sends him.
Do you know what the name of that attack is? It's called the Red Spiral Heat Ray. And so he does that. He blows up Kaiser's body, Kaiser Ghidorah, completely.
And then Godzilla turns over to the Gotengo and...
he's like, well, lads, remember back in Antarctica a few years ago?
Yeah.
It's about time I pay you back for that.
And now Manila finally is relevant after wasting like 2 minutes earlier in the movie. So he walks up and does a T-pose, and that convinces Godzilla to stop attacking the humans, and then they walk off into the sunset.
And then the movie just ends.
Yep, that's it. So, overall, a pretty entertaining movie.
Pretty absolutely wild movie.
Yeah, definitely something to watch with friends.
Get some pizzas, get some drinks, and just enjoy.
Yep.
This movie, again, it's just a bit too long. And even then, it's entertaining enough to where it does drag, but it doesn't feel like you're just watching nothing.
There's so much action spliced in, though, it's hard to lose your attention.
Again, the suits look great. And most notably, Kaiser Ghidorah. The Kaiser's design is insane.
The only monster that looks bad is Zilla.
Which is intense. I told you about that, right? How they purposely made the CGI for him crap.
It is horrible. One of the worst CGI uses in
literally,
Godzilla.
like if you think about CGI back in like the 70s, that still looks better than what Zilla looks like in 2000. Did I tell you how they did the model for his CGI? I know I told you they made it crap. So you know, like the little Zilla toys that came out, like Burger King and McDonald's Happy Kid meals. They just scanned one of those in. They just scanned it in. They didn't even edit the model at all. They just scanned it in and they just didn't fix the CGI. For those of you who don't know, this was the 50th anniversary movie, correct? Mm-hmm. This would also be the last live-action movie for a decade. Legendary picked up the rights in 2014. We would get, in 2016, the first Godzilla movie made by Toho in 12 years, Shin Godzilla. Yeah. Then Toho would go on to make some very questionable Godzilla movies, which...
Oh, the anime trilogy.
We'll talk about them one day, maybe, if we can bring ourselves to sit through them again.
No.
No. And that's really it. I mean, the models are great, the action's great, the characters are great. Gordon will go down in history as the best character in any movie. Just look at it. bro. Like, he's got the mustache. He's
just got
dude,
so much Chad energy.
dude. The one liners that he gives off are great. Doesn't need to be like Shin Godzilla or Gojira. This needs to be like the old Showa style. Like, we're thinking by Showa, I mean like goofy, like Godzilla's Revenge in verse Megalon.
That's a bit too goofy.
Okay, it's not Revenge. Get that out of here. But like Son of Godzilla and verse Megalon. There you go.
Yeah.
It needs to be goofy and enjoyable, like the old Showa movies are, except for a couple really bad ones, like Versadora. And it accomplishes that. It's what Destroy All Monsters should have been. But that's really all I can say about Final Wars. It's a 10 out of 10 movie. You can't tell me otherwise. You just can't. If you don't like this movie, then you did not watch it, because you cannot hate this movie.
You'd hit a woman.
Yeah.